Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale Trust and Bitcoin. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so as I told you guys in the previous video, and again, if you did not watch it, that was our buy, sells, and dividends for the week. I'm going to go ahead and say it one last time. This is going to be the last time I'm going to say it. I will be going to work again very soon. So the content that gets uploaded may not always be on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to get access to that content early and you want to get it when it's relevant to you, then you're more than welcome to sign up for a membership with the channel. It is $25 a month. I mean, again, you don't have to, but if you want the content that is relevant, especially going into this crypto bull run in a timely manner, then that option is available there for you, and you can sign up for it. It should be there should be a join link just right below the video that gets posted each and every day. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so I wanted to show you guys something on Bitcoin. So you can see we got the golden cross on the MACD, but then we got this big ugly green candle, okay? And I'm not going to lie to y'all, this is pretty ugly looking. It's probably going to change when the futures markets open in about 6 hours. Again, for those of you guys that don't know, futures does open at roughly about 3 p.m. on Sunday, and it closes after stock market close 1 hour after on Fridays. So stock markets open on 9 a.m. I believe it's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. No, sorry. It's 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m., something like that, Pacific Standard Time. And then that would obviously be, if you're in New York or Florida or something like that, that would be 3 hours ahead for you. And then it closes at 1 p.m., I believe, or 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m., something like that on the East Coast on Friday. But futures is different. It opens Sunday afternoon, and then it closes at 2 on Friday, or it would be roughly about 5 if you're on the East Coast. So anyways, I suspect this candle for the weekly is probably going to change before futures actually opens today. So anyways, let's get back to the green candle here. So this green candle is kind of ugly looking. I'm not going to lie. It does look a little bit bearish. But then again, this is exactly what I would expect to happen right around the time of the elections, when you see we're getting this breakout, these higher highs, higher lows, and the market comes in and tries to fool you with a candle like this. Like I always say, and again, it does look pretty bearish coming off the tops there. You can see that we had something similar last time, but this was obviously a red candle. This one is not red as of right now. I would expect the market to play some, kind of manipulative games like this going into the actual bull run. So what do I always say when we see something like this? When in doubt, zoom out. So I'm now going to go over to the next time frame here, to the 2-week. Okay, so the 2-week has a different kind of candle on it. You can see with the 1 week, we got the rejection off the highs. With the 2-week, this candle right here, this green one, closed above these previous tops here at 68,500, and it closed not quite above the ones that we had back in February and March, but pretty close, right? So I'm going to go even further out now, and I'm going to go to the monthly time frame. So this paints a completely different picture, okay? So you can see this big, fat green candle here. Again, the close on this one was about 70,300. It closed above every single candle we had except for these two back here. And of course, this green candle for last month in October did break 2 structure levels that were held as resistance, which are now support. So what I'm saying here is this looks a lot more bullish, okay? So we're getting this red candle maybe trying to push in down here, 67,500. I don't even think it goes that low, to be honest. You can see this yellow line. It should theoretically hold that. Again, structure levels, once they get flipped, usually serve as to basically push it higher or lower, depending on the direction. So you got the monthly time frame there. That looks very bullish. But I want to take this a step further and go out to the 2-month time frame. So look at this, okay? So you have these candle closes back here, right? So January, 61,000. Then roughly about 60,000 in March, and then a little bit higher in May and July. But this candle right here, in my opinion, is the candle that we got that basically confirmed the bull run has already started from back here at 51,000, because we got a candle close at 70,600, which was higher than any candle we've ever previously had before, including the last cycle. And once more on the 3-month candle, you can see that it's not really so obvious unless you look for these kinds of things, but you can basically see this perfect, very easy to spot bull flag here, okay? And then boom, rip to the upside, right? So the candle, even though we had a pullback on the weekly, does still look pretty bullish. It's sitting at 68,500. You can see on the 3-month time frame, it's still bullish, okay? So this basically will go through the end of the year, and it theoretically should be above 71,300, well above that by the end of the year. So it's very bullish looking. And again, if I just measure out the target here, we'll say pretty much from the breakout point, if I were just to do something like this, if I can actually get it. It's hard to actually pull this out of here because there's so many different lines on the chart. Try to keep that to a minimum, but some people have like a zillion lines on the chart. That kind of stuff drives me nuts. I don't like that. So you can see the target here would be roughly about $200,000 for that bull flag. It's very high compared to where it is currently. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go over the Grayscale max profit targets for you guys in this video. So this is not going to be about the structure levels of the different trusts, although I will say it does look bullish on the MACD. Finally, we got that move, or that golden cross on the MACD on LTCN, so that's very good. So again, micro level, we're assuming this is the swing high, that's the swing low, right? Otherwise, this is not valid. There has to be basically a confirmed swing high, swing low in place to do this. So you got 84, 123, 170, 205 on the micro. And then on the macro, this is going to get even more ridiculous. But trust me when I tell y'all, crypto is absolutely bonkers when it goes to all-time highs. It is much greater than most people actually typically expect, myself included. I will be honest with y'all, I absolutely underestimated just how powerful these bull runs can be in the last cycle. I did not know that some of these altcoins were going to pop off as hard as they did. So 830, 1320, you got 1800, and then roughly, I'd say about 2150, 2130, somewhere in there on LTCN. BCHG, we're going to do the same thing here. Again, assuming the swing high and the swing low, which we have moved quite a bit off that low, so I'm just going to assume that that's it, and the low is likely in, especially based on the timing of the cycle. So roughly about 37, 56, 77, and looks like about $88, $89. So, a 10, 12x, somewhere in there, that's pretty good. All right, next level here. So you have roughly about 100, 155, 220, and 256. And again, for those of you guys that are skeptical, I completely would understand that. That's kind of how the markets work. Usually when you're in the kind of hope, belief, optimism phase, most people are like, oh, well, it could go up, but then they don't know how much it's going to go up. And some of them will even brush it off and be like, oh yeah, whatever, it's not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden these coins do like a 20, 30, 50, 100,000, 10,000x. And you're like, okay, what the F just happened, dude? I missed all that, really? Yeah, that literally does happen in this market, believe it or not. And it happens to a lot of people. Most people, in my opinion, underallocate to crypto. But of course, I can't tell you guys what to do with your money, but the old adage is never invest more than you can afford to lose, right? And never invest in what you don't understand. So 16, 24, 40, 33, and 39 for HSEN. But yeah, as soon as we're done with these here, I'm actually going to pop into some of these altcoins to give you guys some examples of just how crazy these moves can be. So 50, 81, 113, and 133. ETCG. Okay, trying to get this thing to work. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. Okay, so this is a a very small one. I'm aware that there's multiple peaks here, but we're going to do this one. So 28, 40, 53, and 61. And then the all-time high, which was just shy of $100 up there. Okay, so these moves would be about 155, 240, 340, and 392. Next one on the list, ETH. And again, these ones have kind of moved up and then they've kind of consolidated and or pulled back a little bit. That's to be expected in a mid-cycle correction. Again, does it shock me? These things have had like some 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% pullbacks. Not really, because we saw the exact same thing in the middle of 2021 when Bitcoin dropped from 60,000, I think it was, down to like 30,000 and then popped all the way back up to 69,000. That is completely normal. It doesn't really catch me by surprise at all. Maybe it does for you guys, but not for me because I've already seen this before. So, okay, so the measurements here, 46, 63, 82, and roughly about 94 respectively. And this one did actually have its all-time high right around the end of, or my bad, not the end, about the middle of, that's interesting. So about the middle of 2019. I wonder why that is. Because if I remember correctly, based on that cycle, that's actually when Bitcoin topped out at 13,000 and then it dropped. So before actually taking off in 2020, but this thing never went back to all-time highs. So that's quite interesting. Okay, 103, 161, 225, and we'll say about 270. GBET. Okay, so this one's basically a one shot because again it has already hit new all-time highs this cycle. You got roughly about, I'd say about 50, 81. Let's see, 109, 125. FILG, PhilG. I'm not gonna lie, this dip right here is so It looks so bearish. I mean, it's not really bearish, but I wasn't expecting it to get below the support. It looks like such a steal to me that I'm even considering buying it because it's so cheap. Again, like I've said before, the best time to get into crypto is during the bear market lows. The next best time to get in is usually when you have some kind of major mid-cycle pullback or major pullback on the altcoins and Bitcoin, even if you're still in a bull run. So 640. 1,005, 1,400, and roughly about 1,610. But some people have different strategies. You know, some people will look for that mid-cycle correction. They won't touch it unless they see Bitcoin pull back like 40, 50, 60%. Then they'll, drop everything that they have into the crypto market during that dump when they think it bottomed out. Some people will position trade in between levels. Like you can see support here, and maybe the all-time highs or something like that. Some people will just DCA in. Some people will put money into like 50 or 100 different coins. Some people will concentrate into maybe a half a dozen coins. There's multiple different strategies out there for positioning in stocks and crypto. So everybody's kind of got their niche. Okay, so GLIV, this one, once again, is basically just going to be a one shot because we've already hit all-time highs this cycle for this one. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. It could always go higher. As a matter of fact, when most assets go to all-time highs, usually in price discovery is what it's known as, usually they just keep going up. That's usually what happens, okay? The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are prime examples of that. So 128, 190, 263, and 310 for GLIV. Okay, G-Link, just making sure we're not missing any historical data here. So on this one, you got roughly about 342, 550, 710, and 8. I'd say about 8.25 to 850, somewhere in there. GSOL. This one's pretty basic. Again, it's just a one shot. I mean, the Solana Trust has mostly been going sideways, so you could see that as an accumulation block. That could be a reason to accumulate. Again, usually when you get a sideways move after a big up move, that's usually an indication that this is some kind of flag. It's likely just going to keep going up. It's known as a continuation of a trend in trading. Okay, so 860, 1250, roughly about 1720, and then 19, I'd say about 1950 respectively on that one, GXLM. Okay, so this one would be, you're looking at roughly about 107, 162, 220, and 266 respectively. Again, that is the kind of micro level. If you're looking for more immediate moves and profit targets, that would be your thing. When I say immediate, I'm talking like maybe 3-6 months. If you don't care about that, you're like, well, I want to cash out when Bitcoin tops out and the whole market tops out. Your time frame may be closer to like maybe, I don't know, 9. Well, I'm not going to say 9. I think that's even probably too soon. Maybe somewhere around like, I would say like about 12, 13 months, something like that. Maybe a better option for you if you're kind of just wanting to hodl until what you would consider to be the absolute all-time high. And again, I'll keep you guys up to date on when it looks to me like the market may have topped out, which I think we're very far away from. So 150, 250, 340, and 390. All right, Mana, Decentraland, still very bullish on this one. We do not have any Mana currently, but considering picking it up again, that's for sure. So 115, 180, roughly about 250 and 280 respectively. And last but not least, Zcash. So this is going to be a double. So we got our micro level here. The micro level is going to be roughly about 1450. We'll say 23, 29, and roughly about 33. And then the big one, the macro level, okay, so we got 63, 104, 143, and roughly about 170 respectively. So this one, maybe I'd say as much as maybe like a 40, 45x is what it's looking like on this one. So let's take a look at some of the native ones. And again, there's ridiculous amounts of tokens you can buy in the crypto market. Of course, be careful. There are some scams out there, some pump and dumps, rug pulls that will take your money. They don't care. That's what they're designed for. Always do your research on these projects, understand what you're getting into, and just try to use some common sense out there. Okay, if something looks too good to be true, probably is. A lot of these tokens that we're looking at right now have been around for a while. I would say they're pretty reputable. I can't say it as a guarantee, but they're pretty reputable companies. A lot of these have been through a previous bull run, so they've been time tested. Just something to keep in mind. And a lot of people will say, well, the Grayscale trusts and the altcoins are not the same thing. Ugh. Guys, I'm aware of that, okay? But again, if we're comparing apples to apples here, which, both of these, the native and the Grayscale trusts, are in crypto, okay? The Grayscale trusts have a lot of these tokens for trusts, okay? If we're taking a look at these can give you some insight into what potentially could possibly happen, okay? So like Filecoin, for example, you can see it's pretty much sitting here at the, not exactly the bear market lows, but it's pretty close, right? So we're at the top of this macro zone here. You can see the low that we hit on this in the previous cycle, and even the bear market lows we had recently was roughly about $2.50, okay? I'm pretty sure this is actually not the oldest chart for Filecoin, but you can see it's been around for a very long time, okay? It was even around in the 2017 bull run, topped out at 32, went even higher on the following cycle. So this particular token has created higher highs from cycle to cycle. But if I show you guys what's possible here, okay, so this measure move is ridiculous. Okay, this is almost a 10,000% gain. And the all-time high here was 236. So again, if I'm doing 236 divided by, say, 2.5 of the bear market lows, you can see that's almost 100x, okay? So anything, I would say based on this, anything around 100x or lower could be possible with something like File G. No guarantees, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Even Bcash, for example, we can take a look at Bcash, which we don't currently hold any as far as I know. So 70, you see it went from 70 to 1700, just a ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous gain here. If you had caught it back in 2018, you would have made 2,200%. Yeah, so it basically went from, let's see here, it went from about $70 to 1,600. So let's figure out what that is. All right, so 1,600 divided by 70, you're talking a 23x on a token that's basically been around forever at this point. I'm pretty sure this is not even the oldest chart for Bitcoin Cash, because I'm pretty confident this one, I think it was this one, Litecoin dash Ethereum and Bitcoin, was around like since as early as I want to say maybe 2015, 2016. So this right here may not even be the true low. I don't know. But it just goes to show you even some of these aged tokens. Excuse me, that are not necessarily new shiny objects in the crypto space still have some major potential. So again, the low here on Litecoin, you can see the absolute low for this thing was sitting about $20. The all-time high was somewhere around the 400s. So a 20x on Litecoin, I mean, that's still pretty good. Even if I go over to the second in command here, Ethereum, you guys can see the absolute low for this thing was really, really cheap compared to what it is right now, $80, and then it went to 5,000. So again, that is a massive gain on a coin that is number 2 in the market cap. Okay, Ethereum has like some $300-400 billion or something like that, 62x on your money, or roughly about 6,200%. Okay. Now, for the last two that I keep going over, and I keep going over this for a reason, just to show you guys how absolutely ridiculous this can get. So Mana during the bear market lows back during the pandemic was sitting at about 1 penny. Okay. I'll just be generous here and maybe say the low that you would have been able to get in on, because again, it's not easy to time this perfectly. Maybe somewhere around that 2 cent mark. You can see there's more trading price action there. And then it flew all the way up to $6. I mean, you're talking a 300x return here. So $6 divided by 2 cents, 300x. Again, that shows what's possible with the Mana Trust. And of course, if I do the daddy meme coin, Dogecoin, you guys can see how ridiculous this one gets. Okay, it went from 1/10 of a penny all the way up to, it looks like about 78 cents. And again, I use 75 because, you know, nice, roughly even numbers, or, you know, lots of 5, 10, 20, something like that. Very easy to remember compared to like actual precise numbers. But if I go 1/10 of a penny, you can see this thing did a 780x from the lows to the highs, or about a 78,000% return, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely insane. As a matter of fact, if I show you guys, and again, I'm not knocking the S&P. The S&P is great, but you got to understand crypto, a lot of people use this as a catalyst to catapult their wealth to astronomical heights in a very short period of time. Okay, that's what this is designed to do. It would have taken you 7,800 years in the S&P 500 to get that kind of return that you would have gotten in something like Dogecoin. And again, this kind of thing is very hard to predict. You would have gotten this in just over a year. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.